Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Takara Missing Link line. This is G1 Arcee. Now, as we all know, this was a brand new figure made based on the prototype rosin wood from 1986. But it's been given, modern articulation and stuff like that. Now, there are two releases. Right here, we have the toy. Well, some people are calling this the animation release. I believe, and I'll explain in a moment, why I think this is the G1 toy release. And then there's also one based on the prototype. The only difference between the two are the head sculpts, the paint, and the type of blaster that they come with. The prototype one actually comes with a blaster that is more accurate to what Arcee used in the movie and can store underneath in this groove right where my thumb is. Contrary to what some reviewers have said, this blaster, which is more accurate to various artistic depictions we've seen in, and I think maybe even in season 3, doesn't fit. There's already very, very touchy clearance on the underside of the car mode. There's really just like an angel's breath of distance between what are the feet and the back of the legs and the ground. But the car does roll very well. But going back to it, you can just see that there is no way that the blaster will fit in. It's a little bit longer. The grooves are really designed for that movie accurate blaster. So really, if you want like a more movie accurate Arcee, you'd have to take the blaster off of the prototype design, give it to this figure. Kind of, because as I said, contrary to what people are saying, that this being the animation design, I believe that whereas that prototype, those were the prototype colors and not the finished design of what the toy would have looked like, this is what the toy would look like. Now you might be saying, well, what's the differences? There's slight differences in the pink and white compared to the animation model and some other fine details. I guess we'll know down the line if this is ever re-released, much like Cliffjumper and Bumblebee, as an animation edition. Also, like when we got that animation edition of Optimus Prime. But the weapon can peg here in the back, which isn't that bad. And let me just also quickly say, this is probably by far the best version of G1 Arcee we have gotten in terms of vehicle mode, accuracy, and also having a decent robot mode. Yes, it may not be 100% accurate to the animation, but it's a lot better and a lot less fiddly than what we've gotten. As I mentioned, it does roll very nicely, which I really do appreciate. Does have the rub symbol here, which, oh good, I can it's activating. You can see right there, we got the Autobot logo. And this is accurate to basically a movie era figure. They would have the rub symbols by this point. And again, very small, as a lot of the original G1 toys were. Remember, when we were kids, our hands were just a little smaller and everything seemed just a little bit bigger. So how about we pause and I'll come back with the transformation. Okay, I went ahead and adjusted the camera. So to start the transformation, remove the blaster from this back section. With your thumbs, press down on the windscreen. Yes, that is clear plastic, but I'm not really afraid of it breaking since it is made with a little bit higher care and quality than the normal Generations Deluxe. Come around the back here and pop up this rear section. It does tab into the back of the legs, and you're going to double hinge it over until it kind of friction snaps into place over where the windshield was. So it folds up like that. Next, what you want to do is come into the sides here. I would do this from the underneath. Grab the arms and untab them. They're going to swing out like this so. And I just want to quickly mention, all of this is transformation steps that I feel were seen and we would have seen in a of the time RC, that a lot of the season 3 post movie figures had some of this advanced engineering. I mean, time was moving on, things were becoming a little better engineered. Reach underneath, flip the legs out just like so. Straighten the feet out. You do have to angle them for vehicle mode. Gives you that little bit of extra clearance. Now, this is a very fun and interesting step. What you want to do is we're going to use our thumb and come in and push down and off to the side these these knee joints here. And you want to make sure that they do lock into place. They're going to lock into place for vehicle mode, and they're lock into place for robot mode, just like that. And while you're here, come in and flip out the heels. I will mention the first time I did this, it was actually kind of hard, and I had to use a little bit of a spudger to get one of the heels out, but it's since opened up. Now, here's another bone of contention in terms of the transformation is a lot of people say that we wouldn't have gotten a double accordion joint. Back in the day. I disagree. I fully believe that because of a character like Wreck-Gar, who used ball joints in its arms, we did have some variations on this double accordion bit. So while, yes, we are seeing some modern engineering here, I don't think it's as advanced as we would think. So what you want to do is just fold this up, that section there where the movie accurate blaster would peg into is going to tab in there, and then this whole back and hip section will come down and peg into the underside of the car. You're basically now shortening that whole section right there. But you know, we had it extended so the lace could flip up. Now it's kind of shortened down. Flip up this panel right here. You're revealing the head. Come back over the top and kind of flip that up. And on the hinge here, we're going to bring it down. There's a tab there in the waist that's going to very nicely snap into the panel here and pegs right in. So without further ado, there's Arcee all done up in its faux G1 goodness, I guess you can say. Position the ankles as you will, give you a little extra support. It's not 100% accurate. And of course, if you want, you can plug the blaster back in here for storage. But it does belong in her hand. There is also a stand peg right there. Now, right off the bat, let me just one little issue I have. And as you can see, it has to do with the arms. That because of the nature of the transformation, and a lot of figures were like this back in the day, even when you bend the elbow, the arm is a little angled. Now, of course, this whole pylon section does rotate, and if you want to bring the arm in, you can have Arcee pointing the weapon straight. This was something that was like a real sticking point for me back when I was a kid. But I think, just working with the arms up, you can find some, close approximations. I mean, there is a bicep swivel, so it does swivel that way. I mean, if it would have been great if there was like a wrist swivel or something. But overall, I'm not going to complain. You have a very clean backpack section. You have a fairly accurate animation to the animation look. I mean, this would have been better than a lot of the Transformers released at the time. And I think a lot of that had to do with these were all new designs, so there was a little more synergy between what was being designed for animation and the toy. One thing is, of course, Arcee's head is a little flat. I have to say that is kind of funny to see because a lot of toys back then were just by the nature of the transformation had the look like that. But the head can rotate and it is on a swivel. So there is some level of expression there that you can get that probably wouldn't have been included on the original toy. And of course, the visage, very much that Princess Leia accurate Princess Leia homage, I should say. Look, the concept art version leans in a little bit more to Princess Leia. But yeah, really, just other than that, we've taken a look at the arms. There's a universal joint here in the hips, a nice swivel that can help with the posing and movement. Nice double knee bend, and I appreciate if you notice there's a little cutout there so the leg can come up even more. If you have a hip, if you have a stand, you really can have some fun posing the figure around in these as I keep moving it out of the camera view, but like in these like action type poses. Because I mean, Arcee was a warrior. Now the question I always ask myself is, and I ask myself in like something like this is, would this been a toy I would have bought back in the day? And it's very hard for me to answer because when I was thinking about it, in terms of the movie figures, the only ones I had were Ultra Magnus, Wreck-Gar, Blur, and Cup. And Cup was the Target Master release, which means I either got it in very late 86 or sometime in 87. So I don't know if that can really count as a movie era purchase. I don't know. I really don't remember how I felt about RC back in the day. There's nothing particular. I mean, if this is the figure we would have gotten, which I really do think it was, right down to the transformation. And in fact, I think we would have even gotten the elbows because a lot of figures were getting elbows. We would just had like straight legs and with the feet. There's nothing really special that stands out. The color doesn't bother me. I don't think the color would really bother me because I did have various female action figures back in the day, and I was a fan of characters like Scarlet and the Baroness. So it's kind of hard. I mean, it might be one of those things where I didn't have it, and then looking back, I kind of wish I did, just to have like I do now. That I wish I had Springer, Hot Rod, Rodimus, just to fill out. Definitely Galvatron. It's kind of funny. I don't think I had any of the movie Decepticons back then, but I got this from Big Bad Toy Store. It is available now with the prototype version. The price is a little high. And I will mention that if you were able to get this from, say, Amazon Japan, even with the shipping, you probably would have saved a couple of bucks. I missed out on the pre-orders, and so I put in the pre-orders at Big Bad, and from when the figure was released, and I got the notice from Big Bad that it was processing my pre-order, I never saw either version of RC go in stock on Amazon Japan. I don't know if it's a distribution issue there. I don't know if there's like other issues going on that can affect the release. But right now, your best bet to get this is Amazon Japan. I think Hasbro Pulse will be getting its releases shortly. Going forward, though, in terms of missing links, what's kind of interesting is we have this. I don't think. I'm trying to think. The Bumblebee and Cliffjumper re-release with the animation accurate heads and paint. I don't think that's till next year, and Ultra Magnus is not set to be released until spring of next year. So there's a big gap in terms of missing link releases. And to be honest with you, I kind of think that Cordon, the Diaclone version of Sunstreaker, as well as the prototype version of RC, will probably go on sale at some point. So that's a great time to pick them up. Because let's be honest, if you're going to get one, you're going to want the one that looks the most accurate to the movie. But I would kind of hope they would do a couple other movie characters. Like, imagine them doing a Springer, and then that would be the first triple changer in the missing link line. That would be really cool. But I really don't know what the focus is at Takara in terms of, priority over this and the main line, kid-friendly line, stuff like that. But definitely, this is worth a pickup just for the historical significance, but also it's a great figure. And I'll say it again, this is the best version of Arcee we've gotten. Which means that had this been released back in the day, it would have still been the best version of Arcee outside of all the other releases we've gotten. So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. Sign up for my Patreon, www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. $1 a month, $12 a year. Always appreciate the help. And remember, play with your toys. It's just more fun that way. This is your old pal Chuck for Missing Link Arcee. We will see you next time.